Hello and welcome back to episode 2 of Behind the Brand. For those of you who've forgotten who I was, since it's been over a month since our last episode, my name's Dan. I'm the founder of Brandtale. We're a B2B focused marketing agency, and this series is all about showing you behind the scenes of building that agency from scratch. Okay, so just wrapped up a call with Simon Dodds. Simon works with me as a sort of growth advisor, non-exec type character. So he's got phenomenal agency experience. I've never run an agency before, so he's helping me develop the proposition for the business. He's basically sort of my right-hand man. And we're looking at the ed tech sector, which is a sector I know really, really well. Worked in for 5 years. And I think we've got a really strong offering for that space. It's a market I know well. I think that there are common themes of challenges in terms of how they market, how they go to market, and I think that we can help them. So we're going to do that. So it's Tuesday morning. We're still home. We're still in East Devon. I've just finished up a session with new clients. They were running a webinar series for a new launch they've just done, new products that they've just launched. So that was really interesting. So just joined that just so I can catch up with what the product's like, who's attending, types of questions they're answering, that sort of thing. And there's a few things that I've noted down that I think might be interesting to work on, and some other bits and pieces. And then I'm up seeing them tomorrow on Wednesday. So we're up in their offices in London, which is sort of North London area. So looking forward to that. And the rest of the day, we've got a pretty good day planned. So I've got a call with Simon and Kelly later on to go through exactly what we're going to talk about tomorrow. They've got a couple of sessions to run, which is sort of like strategy games and bits and pieces. I've got some stuff to do, so we're just prepping the final deck and whatever. They need to get the car sorted, make sure prams and things are out of the car, make sure I've got lots of fuel and things on board. So I'm driving to Reading tomorrow and then getting the Elizabeth line from Reading into London. It's just the most economical way of doing it tomorrow. So doing that. I need to go to the gym at some point today, need to walk the dog at some point today, and need to make sure that I've got sort of clothes and stuff sorted for tomorrow and things. So lots of things to get done. I'm going to take you along the journey, and I'll try and take you into the meeting tomorrow. Hopefully we should be able to record some of that session tomorrow. So hopefully look forward to that. It's Tuesday afternoon, and just taking the dog out for a walk on this beautiful. This is part of an old abandoned quarry at the top of it, so it looks all over the city of Exeter, which is really nice actually. It's right by our house, so it means that we can go for a walk a couple of times a week up here. Just a bit of exploring for him, a bit of sniffing because there's lots of wildflower and things like that, and it's nice and tranquil for me, so I can get some time away from the desk, which is the main thing. I'm just reflecting on it's been a year almost exactly, in a couple of weeks I think, since I left IMP and started this journey of Brandtale. Started about a year ago. I was in the process of setting it up and speaking to people and trying to get things going, and it's crazy how far we've come in just 12 months really. In just 12 months we've gone from just me, and then it was me and Scott moved on, and then that's me, Simon and Kelly, and a couple of clients, and doing some great things. We completely repositioned the business. Maybe in another year's time we're even further ahead, but it's nice to take some time away actually. It's crazy because when you work for someone, you feel almost a little bit guilty for taking 45 minutes, an hour out of your day to go for a nice walk, and it's really reflective. Actually, some of the best ideas I've ever had have been probably up here, just taking a stroll and contemplating my thoughts and just getting things together. And I think it's something that should be normalised in business these days. Some people need a bit of time away from their desk. You're not going to come up with something in a strategy session that's going to be amazing. It might take a walk in nature, it might take some time at the gym, or time at the beach, whatever, to come up with something that's truly wonderful. Just because it's 5 o'clock doesn't mean your brain turns off. So yeah, we're just up here doing that, getting a bit of exercise for the day. Before tomorrow's the big one. So I'll catch up with you again tomorrow morning when I'm on the road. Good morning, people. It's Wednesday. Welcome. It's a miserable Wednesday today. It's raining after about 3 weeks of glorious sunshine in the southwest. Typical of the day that I have to do a long drive. It's miserable and wet, but there you go. That's such is the way. It's a little after 6 a.m. We've been driving for just over an hour. Left home just before 5 a.m. this morning. Just after 5 a.m. rather, yeah, so we're just joining the M4 past Bristol. We are heading east towards London, driving all the way into London this morning because congestion charges and ULEZ and whatever else, that is expensive. But we are driving to Reading and then jumping on the Elizabeth line from Reading straight to Tottenham Court Road, and then we are about 10-15 minutes there this morning, so a nice efficient one. Normally this type of journey, last time I did this type of journey, I last couple of times I either got the train or I would drive and probably get into Paddington and then jump on the tube and then try and get over to sort of London. So it's the Elizabeth line is absolutely a godsend. If nobody used it, check it out next time you're on your way to London. It goes all the way out to Reading and gets you sort of way around London. So it's really decent. Actually, it's a big change to the sort of tube system and whatever else. So coming from the southwest or coming from the north or Midlands or whatever, what you normally have to do is get into one of the major train stations, Waterloo, Paddington, Euston, jump on the tube from there, and then filter up back to wherever you're going. Whereas now you can just jump straight on the tube from somewhere a bit further afield, which means that you haven't got to drive as far, or you haven't got to get an expensive train all the way to London, which is pretty fantastic. So there we go. Anyway, so this morning we are doing our strategy session with our new client, which is really awesome. So they are in the education finance space, a sector I know really well. They launched a new product, or a refresh product, if you like, earlier in the year, and they're looking for some support to boost that a little bit. It's a sector I know well. I used to work for one of their competitors, so I think they should be fun. So there's 3 of us coming from our side, so Simon, Kelly and myself, and then from their side it's about 7 or 8 of them, so sort of head of sales, head of marketing, their MD, I think ops director, some product people, potentially some people from group and other bits and pieces. They're part of the wider group that sort of education technology businesses. So yeah, it's going to be an exciting day, so I'm looking forward to it. So it's currently 6:30 in the evening, and we are on our way back from London with our new client. So we were with them all day from around about 10 till just after 4. Took a while to get out of London and back onto the M4, heading back to the southwest. But yeah, really good session. So it's a good bunch of them. So there was their marketing leads, their ops director, new marketing coordinator, their MD, head of marketing from the group. Who else was there? There was their product specialist, head of sales, product owner. So there's a really good bunch of people. They're really rounded sort of idea of the business, and yeah, really good session. So we put together a really good idea of who they are as a brand, who they want to be, who they think their personality is, where they think they've got potential gaps in sort of their brand and marketing messaging and everything else. A bit of competitor analysis, looked at some different sort of ideas and some things that we might do from a marketing and messaging perspective. And got for a lot. It was a really, really good session. Those sort of brand workshops, I think I tend to want to go one or two ways. Either if people are really, really, really keen and they understand, the power of brand, why it's really important to have a good, strong sort of reputation and create awareness of what you do and the rest of it. And you get good buy-in initially when you run those sessions. They go phenomenally well. Everyone's super keen. They're putting together ideas, we're having good debates, all the rest of it. Where there tends to be a problem is where I think people look at marketing as just a cost center, and they think, these guys are going to come in and they're going to put together some good ads for us, and we're going to send a couple of emails out, and then we're going to get a load of leads coming. Most people in sort of marketing know that's not how it works. But unfortunately, that message doesn't always go through, so people they make their decisions. So today was luckily it was the former rather than the latter. It was a really, really solid session, and really looking forward to working with those guys. So Tim and I are each individually on our way back home. Everyone went in different directions, and now we are just condensing thoughts. The next couple of days we're get together as a team, really go through what was said, what we each found was interesting, start to nail that into a sort of summary brief, if you like, and then put that together into some sort of a sort of scoping document and go back to them for confirmation and next steps, and then we're going to help them start to build that sort of brand narrative, bring it hopefully get position them where they deserve to be in the market, because they've got a really great products, really great people, really good service, and the rest of it. So it's going to be fun. Looking forward to that.
So, hi everyone, I'm Megan Franklin. I'm a senior coordinator here at Squared, and I'm really pleased to be welcoming you today to the first iteration of our innovation.
Hello, it's Friday. We're back in the East Devon. Yesterday I didn't record a lot. Had a couple of calls in the afternoon, which were one was an investor session, which was with Set Squared, which unfortunately wasn't really what I thought it was going to be. The platform is for Set Squared is a platform for startup businesses. It's sort of like an incubator type situation. So I assumed that the session was going to be more sort of, these are some of the trends, these are some of the things to do. This is a good strategy for getting investment and things like that. But at least I'd say 75% of the session was somebody somebody sort of explaining their investor strategy from the perspective of somebody that was an analyst for an investment company, a large VC company. So it was very sort of macroeconomic type stuff. Interesting, but it's not right. It's not something that's going to move the needle massively forward for me as a business at the moment. So I ended up diving out early on that one. Most of yesterday was spent working on the sort of notes and next steps, and what we're going to go back to with. So it was a bit of collaborating with Kelly and Simon, getting their notes, their thoughts, diving that into a document, and then I've been trying to use ChatGPT more for this type of stuff. Sort of, basically, admin type stuff. So chucked all of that information at ChatGPT and says, format this in something that, we can look through and whatever. Does a pretty good job of it, to be honest with you. I mean, there's definitely some gaps in it. Jumps to assumptions on certain things, and you have to be careful to look at the research it might have done if you've asked us to do anything, or it might assume that you meant something when you didn't, or something like that. So I would say with all of these types of things, just make sure you're triple checking anything that it writes, which is, I mean, fine, but it actually sort of 70-80% of the way there, which is really great. It saves a lot of time of having to sort of write those things out and review and go back and forth and whatever. So it makes that process a bit quicker and a bit slicker. So so did a lot like yesterday, cleared some emails, whatever else. And then today I've been working on another proposal for a different client, which is somebody it's a bit left field for us. It's somebody that does bespoke, high quality textile products. So one of my first ever sales jobs was working for the guy that now runs this business for a different business, and he asked me for a bit of help. So I've given him some thoughts, and I'm going back to him with a proposal of, this is what we would do and what we suggest. So I've been working on that largely this morning, as well as catching up on the new series of Clarkson Farm comes out today. I'm a big fan, so I've been having a bit of that on in the background. Getting sort of house office and all the rest of it sorted before the long weekend. It's bank holiday weekend this weekend. And then this afternoon we have a call with I guess you described them as an international finance software business. So they're sort of a competitor of Xero and Sage, basically. We use their finance software. They're an interesting company. They do things a bit different, which I quite like. I reached out to their marketing director a little while ago and said, hey, it's what I'm about. It seems interesting what you guys are up to. I'd love to learn more. Can we have a chat sometime? So that's really what today's about. So just to get to know them a little bit, and just make a good connection. So we're going to do that. I've just secured the afternoon's motivation, and then once we're done, we're going to take this little guy out for a walk. Up around the quarry again, for a couple of reasons. One, because he needs a walk, obviously, and two, because I've just acquired a new Whoop device, which I don't know if anybody has been trialing, but I've been keen to give it a go for a little while, and they are quite expensive, but luckily a friend of mine just upgraded to the 5.0, and he had this one going, and they give you, if you give it to somebody, they give you a 2-month free trial. So I was like, yeah, I'll have that off you, mate. Thank you very much. Brilliant. I'll give it a go. So I'm going to go give that a go for a couple of months till we get on, for a number of reasons, because it, whilst also recording your fitness type stuff, it also records, I guess, some more emotional stuff and sort of physical strain and things like that on your body and stuff. And obviously having a newborn and a business and all the stress that goes along with all of that, as well as trying to work out and maintain health and whatever else, takes a bit of a toll on your body. And I'm keen to make sure I know what's going on with me, and try to give my body everything that it needs so that I can perform as best as I need to for the business, for my family, for in the gym and all the rest of it. So giving that a bit of a go this afternoon as well. And then sort of found a nice niche within sort of tech-based company. So I worked for the Exeter Group for a long time as like a go-to-market specialist, helped them launch a cybersecurity business in the UK and a data services business. Eventually got made redundant from that, and then went and worked for a startup called IMP Software, which was it's finance software for schools, basically. So did that for 4 years. I was their first marketing hire. Joined them, I was sort of employee number 3, joined them March 2020, when all other sort of growth tactics didn't work anymore. So we sort of had to go hard in on building the brands, basically, and went brand first. And the more and more I guess I leaned into I guess the Burnett and Field way of marketing, I was like, why doesn't everybody do it this way? So did that for 4 years, grew that business to they're now 50% market share in the UK, so the sort of biggest provider of what they do in the UK. It's a fairly niche market, but they've done really well. And then left last summer because I just got to the stage where I was a bit bored of it, really. It was becoming more of a corporate business, and my role was becoming more sort of team leader than day-to-day marketer, and that just wasn't me, really. So at that point I decided to go and chill out for a little bit, and then set up Brandtale. So so the idea of Brandtale. Sorry?
It's a good journey. It's funny going in as the first marketer into a firm where you just say, oh no, I've got to educate all these people as well as do my job.
Yeah.
It's definitely a baptism of fire, that one.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was quite fortunate that my boss sort of he wasn't a marketer, but he understood the fundamentals. So it's almost like I could explain to him, this is what I want to do and why I want to do it and why I think it will work. He was like, okay, let's go and do it. And he was like, if you show me something works, I'll invest in it. So we did, and it did really well. So yeah, and then I set up Brandtale basically because I guess last year I just got to the point where I was like, I'm really frustrated because I've built this business via this philosophy, and I see lots of other marketers and lots of other businesses struggling with the concept of how to do good brand work. In B2B, it seems to be a bit of an alien term. So I was like, I'm just going to go set up an agency and go and try and, I guess, preach that into the market and start to try and do that. Here we are. A year later, we're still doing it. I'm still annoying people with brands, but there you go. So that's me. So it's Friday afternoon. The week is over. We're just about to wrap up for the week. I've just jumped off that call with the finance software business with their marketing director. So that was really interesting. She's newly promoted and in charge of a really cool brand. So they're a bit of a challenger in the space. They're not Xero, not Sage, not QuickBooks, sort of the other one. Some people might know who that is. And they're doing some interesting stuff. Their whole thing really is that that we haven't got the budget to compete on the scale with these guys, but we've got a good offering and we think it's interesting and different and we're clever enough, so let's go and compete in a different way. They come up with really cool creative ideas that get some notice, potentially get some good news attention and stuff, but it's done in a bit of a different way, and I love all of that because ultimately I think B2B needs to do more of that type of stuff and have that type of thinking. So we had a really interesting conversation. More than anything, it was just like two peers just shooting the shit about marketing, and it was great. I think we're on the same wavelength about a lot of stuff. So we ended it with we're going to talk again in a couple of weeks, and we're going to come back to them with a little bit more about who we are and where we might be able to add value to them in the stuff that they do. They do a lot of sort of experimentation of ideas and stuff, so it's a little bit of a opportunity for us to test a little bit about what we're about with a with a client that's doing some pretty sophisticated stuff already. So I'm looking forward to that. So that was a cool opportunity, and one for us to work on. Very early days at the moment, and who knows if it will turn into anything. But if more than anything, it's nice that we're getting involved in more of those types of conversations. So but the week overall has been a positive week. It was a real sort of cliff of a week, if you like, in that sort of the ramp up to Wednesday. Lots of prep work and whatever else. Wednesday was fantastic, went really well, better than I expected, I think. And then the rest of the week we've just been prepping for the next steps for that, proposals, doing lots of good work. So I think we're getting some good momentum at the moment, which I'm really enjoying sort of riding out. And long may it continue. We're getting involved in more conversations where the messaging that we're putting out there is resonating more. Every time I speak to somebody or catch up with somebody I've not spoken to in a while, they say, "Oh, loving what you're doing." Well, so it's great. Or they're having challenges and they're thinking about the stuff that we're talking about. So I'm absolutely loving it at the moment. But that's not to say the week's been completely perfect. I have a now 12-week-old daughter. She was 12 weeks old yesterday. She's not sleeping great at the moment, which is fun. The last 3 or 4 nights I've been up, well, that's 3 or 4 mornings I've been up at sort of 4:35 in the morning, and then I'm back to sleep, apart from last night actually, which very grateful my wife woke up I think about 6 with our daughter and took her downstairs, and I didn't even realise I must have been so tired. I was just passed out, so I woke up this morning about 7:30, which was amazing. Felt like the longest line I've ever had. So that was cool. But overall it's been a great week. I think I'm going to take the long weekends, take as much of that time as possible, just to chill with family and friends, and maybe get to the gym, maybe play a bit of golf, whatever. But spend a lot of time with my daughter as well tomorrow, and maybe some family and stuff. So just really enjoy it. And then next week, it's a big week to get some response back to our new client. follow up on a couple of proposals and stuff that we've got out there. One came back to me today with asking for a bit more clarity on some stuff, so I've gone back to them with that. So hopefully we can get the ball moving there. And keep building on this momentum really, and see where we get to. But yeah, hope that you've enjoyed this episode. I am sort of trying to make the commitment to do more and more of this type of stuff, show people a little bit behind the scenes. If there's anything particularly that you want to see more of, please drop it in the comments. If anything that you think is not particularly interesting, and a lot of it might be just be me sort of speaking to camera. But if you'd like to see, more of the meetings or more of the decisions that we're making or whatever else, then please drop in the comments, let me know. Or if you connected with me already on LinkedIn, reach out, send me a DM. I'd love to hear from you and hear what you think. But otherwise, I will see you on the next one.